You're pissed off at Thingiverse. I get it. I am too. It's the last straw. It's time for a change. Let's talk about it. Hey, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking all about the top 10 Thingiverse alternatives here because, honestly, it's freaking time. Stratasys and their anti-consumer practices with Thingiverse are honestly just causing it to dig its own damn grave. And it's time for some of the other titans of industry to come out and flex their muscles. We've got the top 10 that we love here at 3D Musketeers, and I think you guys are going to appreciate them. But if you're just looking for the list and nothing else, it's right below me in that description. We got timestamps coming up, and then we're going to be moving right into the deep dive for a little bit into each of these websites. So, if you're new here, get subscribed, leave a like. Let's get into that list. We're going to be starting with PrusaPrinters, one of my personal favorites that I really think is on a path to getting things done right, especially with the rebrand coming up for a name and color scheme that is probably somewhat related to orange. But there are other options out there as well, such as Cults 3D, a website that offers the ability for you to buy models, but has been shrouded in a bit of bad PR to say the least. After that, we're going to move right into MyMiniFactory, probably one of the larger repositories out there that clearly goes through if things cost money, if they don't cost money, and they really have a great system to support creators where they provide 90% of the money bought for files directly to the creators themselves. We then move into Youmagine, a company that is backed by Ultimaker, and while it doesn't have a ton of movement, might not be a bad alternative if you're just looking for a place to get to. We then move into Thangs. Thangs is complicated if you have a thing about privacy. They are owned by the data company Fizna, but we'll get into that a little bit there. But Thangs has an amazing algorithm that still needs a little bit of training, honestly, but is showing some pretty good starting potential to really make this system of searching for models across a wide database useful. From there, we move into Pinshape, another website that lets you sell models with pretty clear cut and dry experience. Not my favorite one of the bunch for sure, but it's definitely an option. And if you're someone that is looking to sell models, you might as well put them up everywhere that you can, right? One extra sale is one extra sale as far as I'm concerned. We start to round things off with Turbosquid and CGTrader that are more focused on the 3D model side and less on the 3D printing side. But if you're really kind of back against a wall, it's not a bad place to look, with models that can be incredibly high poly, but they do focus more on things like Unity and Unreal, which are not exactly designed for 3D printing. And the last two are ones that maybe you didn't know about or didn't use anywhere near enough: GrabCAD and McMaster-Carr. GrabCAD is a repository you are able to upload to it. It is owned by the same company as Thingiverse, Stratasys, but they do seem to be putting a lot more effort into GrabCAD itself. GrabCAD's great because you can upload step files, and its preview is amazing. Now, it does require an account, as some of the other ones here do. However, if you've already had an account with Thingiverse, they already have your information, right? We round off our repositories with McMaster-Carr. A bit of a left field option for sure. However, I think they're very valuable, especially if you're doing things with hardware components that you really just don't want to find anywhere else or model yourself. McMaster has all of it right there. And because of the way that the files download, you'll know exactly what model number you're using, so that you can easily go back and buy it. But if you're of the thought that going through all these websites to find what you're looking for sucks, Yeggi, our final and bonus 11th option, is a great place to go. They are not a repository, but instead an aggregator, similar to the Google of 3D printing. They're able to index and search tons of different websites to help you find the files that you're looking for. Couple of small UI and UX things I'd like to see changed, but overall, you know, it just works and you can't complain too much about it. But if you guys are looking to get a real in-depth look into everything. We got at least another 25 minutes worth of video here. Stay tuned. Feel free to jump around to the chapters that make sense for you. Let's learn a little bit more about Thingiverse alternatives. We're going to start off with my personal favorite, which is PrusaPrinters. Yes, it is associated with Prusa. No, you don't need a Prusa printer to use PrusaPrinters. It is being rebranded. Joseph even responded on that last tweet that we sent out for the video saying it's coming soon. And from the hints that we're getting from Prusa Live, it might be coming quite a bit sooner rather than later. So I'm going to go with the normal thing that we get from Prusa. Friday. It's going to happen Friday. Eventually. They're doing a lot of awesome things. This includes things like flash contests, which are right here. These are all to go after Prusa meters. Prusa meters are their way of gamifying the 3D printing community. And damn it, it works. You can look at the rewards. You can actually trade in these Prusa meters for things like filament, resin, shirts, hoodies, swag. But this is where Prusa, to me, really shines. It's their community. You can go here, download whatever the hell you want. Whether it's Vladimir Zelensky, upcoming time lapse, get subscribed, or it's something else, you can search for quite literally anything you want. And if you're just here looking around, all you gotta do is just click Explore Prints. You can look for the newest. These were the newest ones that are updated. Ooh, I like that. I'm gonna print that one in a bit. PrusaPrinters is quickly becoming the largest repository because of what they do and how they do it. They're very much community-minded and focused, but they don't pay me to say that. It'd be cool if they did. But if it wasn't immediately obvious, I'm somewhat of a Prusa fanboy. I'm coming here with some level of bias. I use PrusaPrinters. We have files on PrusaPrinters, and we like the system that they have, which includes the ability to upload things like G-code. You can do STL files if you want, totally fine. STLs are great. But if you want to do maybe a 3MF file, a step file, even raw G-code, if that's your flavor, be careful about running raw G-code. It can be a little dangerous, but I'd like to believe this industry is not full of jerks, right? And I think that's where they shine. When you look at places like Thingiverse, we're going to always use Thingiverse as our comparison here. Thingiverse's homepage looks like it's straight out of the early 90s, right? You know, we're not dealing too much with our UI and UX, whereas the Prusa homepage, it's pretty, it's well thought out, and yes, they're using the same style of boxes and all of that. I do believe, though, that this is more focused on the user, while this is more focused on... Well, I'm honestly not certain what it's focused on, to be honest with you, but it's focused on something. Now, the other thing about Thingiverse that I just don't like, I can't infinite scroll. Attempting to scroll, can't infinite scroll. I go to 3D models, explore prints. Buddy, all day long, how much you want to scroll? How much RAM you got? How much RAM you got? You want to download more RAM? Let's go. We can do it here. I like the ability to infinite scroll. It doesn't force me to move my cursor or set it in the right position every time so I know where to click. I prefer the UI of PrusaPrinters. It's just me. But again, it's going to be converted into a new rebranded thing that will be less Prusa focused and more community focused, something that Prusa's always been big about. But enough not shilling Prusa, but kind of shilling Prusa. They don't pay me, it's not shilling. But what I will shill is our sponsor, 3D Musketeers. If you want to get your ideas out of your head and into your hands and make cool stuff with 3D printers, laser cutters, and CNC millers, you can reach out to the pros over at 3D Musketeers. They have almost 36 machines to help you make awesome every single day. And whether it's 180% CAD Bane hats that definitely don't fit your cat perfectly, even though she won't take the photo, or maybe they're custom pieces for anything that you might be doing, the pros here at 3DM can help you make awesome. And if you want to support the work that we do at 3D Musketeers, support these videos and support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/3D Musketeers, or you can click the join button right below this video and support us for a couple of bucks a month. Every bit of that goes to making these videos better. Anyways, let's talk about Cults. Cults 3D has been one of the larger companies for this kind of repository that kind of popped out of nowhere. Unfortunately, Cults has had some lackluster press. I'm going to say it was shitty, and that's being nice. There were some allegations that Cults 3D not only was not paying users, but then the owner of Cults came on and just went ballistic on the Reddit user. And if you want to talk about bad PR, that's a level of bad PR. Here is the thread. 10.5 thousand upvotes, mine being one of them. Cult 3D is denying me my profit and blatantly ignoring the issue. Please do not use their services. It's pretty bad, to the point of where the 3D printing subreddit said, nope, no more cults. We can see the user story, and I'll link to everything so you guys can take a look. But suffice to say, it's a shit show. Now, has Cults gotten through it? I don't know. I'm not an avid user of Cults 3D. We have an account with them when we go to buy some things from them, but that's really it. We can see that Cults does have some ads on here. Ad blocker does not work for it. If I wanted to, I could, hard block these elements, but it is what it is. Cults, along with some of these others, are not associated with larger companies. What I will say is, I like how you can add GIFs and videos to Cults. The files are really nice. One thing I'm not a huge fan of with Cults is that they do push their paid models more than others, but this is nice if you are a creator side to be able to put something up there for sale. Cults' system, though, is well thought out, right? It immediately opens you up to the creations. You can go into jewelry. You can choose whatever you're looking for. I love that watch winder. One thing to note is a lot of these websites will have ways for you to migrate all of your Thingiverse data over. I know PrusaPrinters does, I believe Cults does, I believe MyMiniFactory does, but some of the others may not. So if you are looking to kind of migrate things over, you might be kind of stuck with certain companies based solely upon that. They're one of the few companies that do have a section for, let's go with adult prints, where you can do things that we will say are not safe for work. Cults is friendly to that, where some of these other repositories are not. PrusaPrinters is not one of them. I want to be able to give Cults a chance, but with how things went, how the CEO of Cults spouted off against the user is kind of odd. And to the point of, they even emailed someone that reached out to them saying, hey, WTF, they said, thanks a lot for letting me know. We'll reply and comment on the thread. We'll have to understand who this designer on Cults is, but 100% sure he's lying and selling most probably stolen content that will be refunded to users. You'll have more info in the thread. They don't know who they were, but they're sure they're lying. I don't want to stick on this drama too much. Let's move on to MyMiniFactory. MyMiniFactory is a really interesting place. They, of course, such as the name, are heavily focused on minis and smaller like tabletop gaming or things like an actual mechanical grand piano that is fully 3D printed. And I'm sorry, that's bloody fucking cool. I really enjoy these things. $63, a little bit beyond my price range, but very cool. But they have amazing minis, and they have their whole thing called Tribes. My general understanding of Tribes is it's similar to Patreon, but it's specifically for 3D modeling content creators. And, well, there's a benefit to that, because then if I'm looking for someone to support, I know exactly where I need to go to find them. Rather than having to sort through a bunch of Patreon bullshit, I'm able to quickly get it and easily from MyMiniFactory. So I do like that. But you don't need to use Tribes to be a part of MyMiniFactory. You are able, of course, to sell things on here, and they've kind of been known as one of the larger places to do it. I believe their take is quite a bit less as well. So yeah, 90% of your purchase goes directly to the designers, and they're upfront and honest about this, right? Every model is quality crafted with dedication and precision. I like that as you're scrolling, the price is obvious right here. A big value over Cults, and especially Thingiverse doesn't let you sell things, so. But a big value to me over Cults is, as I'm scrolling, I can see what I'm looking at. And I like that you can go toward featured files, popular ones, community ones, and instead of having to click and then scroll, I can scroll a little bit here, You know, they'll give you a few of them. But then if you want to see more, you got to click see more. And then you want to keep scrolling, buddy. Scroll for days. And their prices are, I think, reasonable. And again, right at the top there, are you a 3D designer? Earn 90% from your designs. Click here. Straightforward, upfront pricing. Thank you. Looking at cults. Where's my keep? Where's my keep, cults? I don't know if I'm a designer. What do I keep? And I'm sure if you signed up and all of that, you could. But it's certainly not as easy to see as something like we're seeing from MyMiniFactory. I do like MyMiniFactory's UI. I think it does rival, if not honestly beat Prusa's. I like that it's a little bit cleaner. It could be jumbled and convoluted if you are new to this, but enough of them. Let's go on to Youmagine. Youmagine, similar to PrusaPrinters, is, well, there's a company behind it, right? The company behind Youmagine is Ultimaker. Youmagine is not all that popular, but it's not a bad site. Everyone seems to be copying the same kind of basic design style because, well, it's what the community is used to, and that's likely what they're going to want. Is it a bad website? No. Have I used it? No. I like that there are options, and I like that it's not plastered with Ultimaker branding. Like, I literally had to search for it to verify that I was right. And I do like that you can download things without needing to make an account. For something like MyMiniFactory, you will get prompted to try to download and join. That's nice, but, you know, it kind of is what it is. PrusaPrinters, I can easily download all model files, and they will prompt you, but it immediately downloads without a second thought. So, nice to see. So I will give them credit. I would have liked to see that it was a download all. I love that you can do the favorite, print it, and add it to collection, things that we're used to seeing. But unfortunately, Youmagine does not get the traffic that a lot of the other websites get, so maybe it's underutilized. Let me know what your thoughts are on Youmagine down in the comments. Thangs. Thangs is owned by Fizna. Fizna is a data company. Thangs throws money heavily at content creators. We are not one of them. We've never had communications with Thangs, but they do pay content creators to upload only to Thangs. That's their prerogative. If you pay someone well enough, I'm sure they're happy to do it. So take that with whatever grain of salt that you want. And the thing is, Thangs is also an aggregation website. So hilariously, and Thangs, this is ridiculous. I'm searching for Chaos Core Tag, and yet the first thing I get is a link to Thingiverse. Guys, come on. Now again, Thangs is owned by a data analytic company. Fizna, go look into them if you want. I'm not going to get into it today, but be aware of what you're providing to companies when you provide them with your information. Prusa is incredibly open upfront with you on what they're utilizing and how they're using it. We actually went through it a little bit on the Prusa Slicer 2.4 video. Card to that so you guys can take a look at it. But Thangs, just read their terms of service. Seriously, read their terms of service. Are they a bad website? No, I don't think they are. But Thangs has a lot available. While I have an account with Thangs, I don't use them. And I believe that creators that only upload to Thangs, I can't support. You need to be able to upload your files to where people want them. Great example. Let's look at this C-clamp print from 3D Designer. If I want to download all, Thangs forces you to log in. You cannot download a file from Thangs without logging in. And yes, I have an account with them, but I only use it when I need to. And for companies that refuse to use any other platform because they're associated with companies, so is Thangs. Get your head out of your ass. You know who you are. I'm against that. I get it. As a company, Fizna needs to collect data. That's where their business model and money comes from. They're a data collection company. The search function works really, really well. I like the idea of Thangs. Like, as a whole, the idea is really, really cool. A algorithm, an AI that utilizes some sort of object recognition to classify things as certain things, and then somehow enable linking to names and keywords so that when people search for something, it's easily found. I think that's really cool. They're trying to become like the Google of 3D printing. I would expect that when I search Benchy, I get a Benchy boat, and I don't. And that's frustrating. And if you would think that there's some sort of object recognition here, that it would bring me the actual Benchy boat, which you can find by searching 3D Benchy. But if I go to PrusaPrinters and I search Benchy, it's the first thing. Now, that's not the official Benchy, but at least I get a Benchy. I think Thangs has some work to do. And like I said, I believe overall it's a cool idea, but I don't like its implementation. It worries me a lot. But let's move on. Pinshape. Pinshape is another site that you can get models from. Again, not as popular as some of the others. They're good, they're just not as popular. What does that mean for you as an individual? If you upload your parts here, they might not get seen. I like they've got things easily categorized out, and I like that they have immediately prices. I can download something. Let's look at the Wasp helmet. Bummer. I don't want to do any of that. So that's a shame. I have to log in to download something. Yeah, that's a bummer. Because websites that force you to have a login to download, just not a fan of them. Just not a fan. Pinshape's overall style, I don't mind it. I think it's well made. A lot of the files you're used to seeing are going to be on here because creators recognize the more places they put them, the easier they are to be found by others, right? This is simple. I like they feature 3D designers. That's cool as long as they change them out often. I'm cool with that. And we can see easy ways to sell. You want to learn, you want to find. Done and done. Can't hate on them too much. Again, they're a smaller company, so kind of is what it is. They're not going to have the big push that others will. I love the green download buttons because it easily signifies the difference between free and paid. So I do like that. And I would guess that if you do have an account with them, you can download it immediately without having to go to another page. Again, really nice touch. Definitely can't hate it. Up next, we've got Turbosquid by Shutterstock. I didn't know that Shutterstock bought Turbosquid, but cool, whatever. Turbosquid is more surrounding animation, rigged, and models for 3D modeling, not for 3D printing. We have had absolute hit and miss with them when it comes to quality of files. Sometimes you'll get gorgeous files that work perfectly. Other times they'll be jumbled messes of crap. But if you can't find it somewhere else, chances are Turbosquid or our next company, CGTrader, will have it. Unlike some of the other ones we've talked about, they have ones in 3ds Max, Maya, Cinema 4D, Blender, FBX, OBJ, Unity, and Unreal. So if you are someone that's looking to do game development or you need an asset for a project, Turbosquid would be a great place to turn. Obviously, because they're heavy on the 3D animation side of things, their 3D animation page looks brilliant. It's gorgeous. If we look at their cars, obviously, all the big cars you'd like to see, right? Taycan, Model 3, and they're all available for purchase. Some of them can be expensive. If you're using Turbosquid, you're probably not heavily into the 3D printing industry, and if you are, you might want really, really high poly models. So the one thing that we found from Turbosquid is that when we've gotten models from them of like a car, things like all the suspension components, the engine transmission, all the internals for the engine and transmission, the interiors, everything that you would expect to be there, minus wiring, is normally there. That's kind of freaking nuts. And it is the same for other companies. If we look at free models, let's look at this tree here. I like this tree. Do you like this tree? Of course, it's gonna require you to log in. Dang it. I hate the companies do this. But again, they're owned by Shutterstock. It's, you know, yeah, it's different. Nice Volvo. We can see other things about it. It's fully rendered, full interior. So if you're using this, you're probably not 3D printing. You're more interested in the actual animation side of it. But that's not to say that Turbosquid is a complete and utter write-off. If you have needs, they might be able to help you. They're always my last source, along with our next one, CGTrader. Same kind of deal, very much designed more for animation and asset usage rather than the 3D printing industry, but they do have a really cool AR and VR experience with their models, which is honestly pretty badass. And that's one of my big things with CGTrader that I do like. We can see that there's lots of models. Let's just go into architectural, because I know they're all over the place. Everything from little bits and bobbins where you might need them. There are lots of options here, and these are all going to have reasonably decent STL files. We can see that this one is available in OBJ, MTL, and PDF. OBJ might work, it might not, but we can see that things like this one here with the gold, this is available in Max, OBJ, FBX, MTL, STL, and more. So the individual that created it exported tons of different file formats, so whatever you need, you can get it. And CGTrader along with Turbosquid are great in that if you need a file format that isn't offered, they can sometimes go ahead and convert it for you, so you're not left to try to do those things on your own and potentially mess it up. And they will make you wait. This is their way of making sure that you're getting ads. Fine, I'll put up with it as long as I don't have to make an account to do business with your company. I think that that's fair. Go away, and we can see all of the formats here. A Blender, the raw Blender files, 7-zips, OBJ, the textures in 7-zip, FBX, and .abc, which I don't know what that is, but I know, add a little Michael Jackson, you get 1, 2, 3 out of it as well. Just putting that out there. As far as repositories, one of the most useful ones that we find is GrabCAD. GrabCAD, as it would state, is where you can grab CAD files. So, and I hate to say this, but GrabCAD is owned by the same people that own Thingiverse, Stratasys. And they do seem to be taking better care of GrabCAD than they do Thingiverse. So that's a plus. Now, one of the weird things, when you go to GrabCAD, you're met at a website that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Where you will want to go is library. That's where the files are. That's where things are that you want. Now, the bummer is with GrabCAD, you cannot download unless you have an account. But the amount of files and the fact that a lot of these come in step variant. Yes, step files. That's a CAD model. So you can take this and do whatever you want with it. It's fully parametric. That, to me, makes it worth giving them your information. And mind you, if you had a Thingiverse account, Stratasys already has your information. Just make a GrabCAD account. When we are working on projects internally, or even for clients, the first place we're going to see if somebody else did the work is GrabCAD. It's free. And it's very, very powerful. Like a freaking Tormach 1100M with everything. These are all your PRT files, so this is SolidWorks. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that GrabCAD makes you go to library to see things, and that it's a little misleading for actually what it is. It is not the easiest to search through, and if you look for things like a Benchy, you may not find what you're looking for. Now, some people have obviously uploaded it, so that works. But I do like that GrabCAD kind of enables more of a dedicated space for engineers to do engineering stuff. It's like going to McMaster-Carr looking for a part that you need in your build and just downloading the 3D CAD file because they've got CAD for everything, including Swedish fish. One of my favorite candies. But I do really like this. I think there's a lot of value to it. I'm bummed that you have to have an account, but this one I can see past because a lot of us that are finding this video already have Thingiverse accounts. It's the same company. Deal with it, I guess, right? It's part of the facts of life. Out of left field, and I totally forgot to include them, but I remembered in GrabCAD that McMaster-Carr has quite literally step files for everything they sell. Let's say you're going for a screw and bolt, socket head, I don't know, normal ones, titanium, click here. We've got CAD models inside. You can see it pretty quickly. And they'll have all the drawings that you need for something like this. You can download it as SolidWorks, a step file, any specific thing that you need, including your 2D drawings. So if you're including this in a bill of materials, you can utilize the parts from McMaster to build everything into your components. Is it that easy to use? Well, no. Like, there's a metric shitload of menus to have to go through, but there's really no better place for something like this. So I'm gonna tip my hat to McMaster. I will say if you order things from them, they ship lightning fast. You get stuff basically next day. You pay for it, right? They're expensive. But when you're in industry and you're doing work, you don't generally care about that price. It's the speed that matters more. And for us, we care about speed. We work with McMaster. They make good quality stuff. They stock damn near everything on the planet, and they have CAD models for a lot of it. And they have direct SolidWorks add-ins, as well as add-ins for Fusion 360, if I'm correct, where you are able to just, inside of SolidWorks, inside of Fusion, search through the catalog of McMaster and grab things without having to leave your program. And that is incredibly valuable. So I'm going to tip my hat to McMaster on this one. You don't need an account to download things from them. It instantly downloads it, and life is good. And it even includes in the file name the actual part number inside of McMaster. So if you're ever wondering, hey, what the hell is that part number? It's in the file name. It's immediate and easy for you to see. But last but not least, I would be remiss if we did not mention Yeggi. Yeggi is the search engine for 3D printable models. I like this. I like Yeggi. It's useful. Is it all that user-friendly? For the most part. Is its UI pretty? No, it's pretty much as bare bones come. But I don't have an issue with that. They're an aggregator. They don't store anything. They're telling you, hey, you can get this from Thingiverse. It's free. And if something is paid, like the Klingon alphabet, and this is from Cult, it'll tell you for sale. So we can click it, open it up, and we can see it's $2.19. So before we even click something, we can check here. So if you're looking to find a specific model, we normally say start with Yeggi. If it doesn't work, go to something else. Is it Yeggi? Yeggi? I don't know. It's something. But unfortunately, because some creators are removing their files from places like Thingiverse, you'll sometimes get a 404. Bit of a bummer, but that's fine. I like that everything is aggregated, and all I have to do is kind of roll over it to see. I do wish it told you, underneath the photo where it was from, and if it was free, and if it wasn't free, what it cost. I know that would require them to ping the website servers a lot more often, and they do that to try to reduce their overall server usage, but it would be a nice upgrade to see. Again, Yeggi is not a place where you can download models. This is a place where you're able to aggregate things. And if we go to print now, you can print through something like CraftCloud that's associated with all 3DP, but personally, I'd say you should print through 3D Musketeers, but I'm not biased at all. But look, this was our rundown of the top 10 plus Yeggi places to get 3D models, because ultimately, Thingiverse is dead to me, and it should be dead to you too. That's all I have for you guys today. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. And you are able to sell things versus not. This is free everywhere else. Why is it $12.99? Well, that's just stupid. I wonder, are you the same person? Huh. The model's been removed from Thingiverse. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and a massive thank you goes out to all of our Patreon and YouTube channel member supporters. Their names are listed right next to me at the $5 tier and higher. If you want to join the elite group of Musketeers, you can do so at patreon.com/3dmusketeers, or click the join button right below the video, which is right by the thumbs up button, which you should totally hit. Right below me will be the entire Thingiverse series, where you can hear me rant on about why Thingiverse is a steaming pile of dog shit and you should not support them. And right next to that will be our videos on all of the 3D printing slicers, because if you're looking for repositories, you might need to learn some slicers. I'll see you guys down in those comments, and in the next one, I expect to see some comments out of you all. Take care.